As Vice President for Values and Transparency, Věra Jourová has made the rule of law a cornerstone of her work, championing democratic resilience across Europe. Today, as Russian interference has intensified in elections from the EU to Moldova and Georgia, and with disinformation increasingly undermining public trust, her work and legacy is more vital than ever. Now, the EU faces profound challenges, including cyber threats, how to deal with AI, and now all heightened by the return of Donald Trump to the White House. Vice President Jourová joins us to discuss these issues and the future of European democracy. Thank you so much, Vice President, for giving us your time today.
Thank you for your interest.
I want to jump right into rule of law. This is something that has been very important to you and your work here at the Commission over these last years. And I'll just jump and ask. We look at things, the toolbox that we already have. We look at Hungary, Slovakia, Poland with Article 7, with infringement procedures. Is this toolbox that we have right now in the European Union, is that enough for future infractions or dangers?
Well, the toolbox is richer now. I came to the Commission in 2014 and we didn't have the rule of law report, which is, I think, very efficient preventive measure and tool. We didn't have conditionality. It means the connection between money and rule of law. So this is the maximum we could have achieved. It's now a question whether the new Commission will propose new things. I predict that there will be the effort to connect also the single market and rule of law, to explain that for good business, for the entrepreneurs, it's important to have the legal certainty and the guaranteed principle that everybody is equal before the law. So I think that there will be more things coming, but I'm quite satisfied that we came with the measures which achieved some good results.
Speaking also of results, I mean, it's an ongoing battle with big tech. That was one of the main things here, continues to be. Also, very much you are connected with GDPR, very much guaranteeing rights, digital rights for citizens in Europe and beyond that. But can we make tech trustworthy? And what are your concerns now with things like disinformation? Big tech is still very much part of our lives. What do you look at in terms of your achievements, and what are you worried about for the future?
Of course, big tech is influencing every inch of our lives. And we started with GDPR by setting up very strong principle that we have to defend the rights of every individual. And you know, you and me, everybody is sharing private data with the technological or with the digital sphere, and we guarantee protection as the only continent, in fact. And the GDPR is being followed in efforts of legislators on many other places. But I also felt responsible for security of people. And I don't understand why the people should be targets of attacks, being sent to, to gas chambers again, verbally, and being beaten, being killed, because the online violence has a very, very bad feature that it is spilling over to the real life, real aggression against real people. So I think that we still have to work further, because online is not a jungle. It's not just the free ride for the criminals.
You spoke also of attacks in real time. Obviously, what happens in social media matters. It's been very much also used by certain actors, including Russia and the Kremlin, in various countries, including the European Union, also what we've seen in Moldova and Georgia. Looking at your experience, these threats have increased, this interference has increased. Is Europe doing enough, and what could we do more in future?
We need to protect democracy, including democratic elections. Without that, we can close the shop. Sorry to be that blunt. And so we did everything to protect European elections against 3 new kinds of threats: increased level of cyber attacks, AI usage, especially deepfakes, and well-designed disinformation campaigns. We didn't see major incidents, but it was because we were well prepared. There will be national elections, there will be elections in Germany, in some other member states, and we recently saw elections in Georgia and Moldova, which you mentioned. I would like to mention Moldova in this context, because what we saw in Moldova, this incredible combination of all those threats, cyber attacks, usage of AI, disinformation, incredible campaigning, corruption of voters, Russia using every possibility to influence the voters. So the fact that the referendum resulted with yes for the EU, and Maya Sandu, who is my hero, I really admire her very much, that she managed to win against all this intense attacking. This is a little miracle, or a big miracle. And I think that we really must not underestimate these efforts to destroy our democratic processes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a very fine line, and obviously social media gives us great potential. Big tech is still a part of our lives. If we now look at the changes happening in the United States, Donald Trump will return to the White House, very much also key influence by Elon Musk, one of the major tech players. With the Digital Services Act, there are certain processes, there's probes against his company. Looking at that, and looking at the United States and Musk and Trump, what are your reactions? Is this going to work well for Europe? Is this a challenge? What's your thought on that?
The combination of Mr. Trump and Mr. Musk and what they are doing in the United States, it's not for me, it's not of my business to assess them. My job is to take care of European information space. We have the Digital Services Act, which applies to everybody, every tech company which wants to operate on our very rich and reliable market. So I think I would like to divide those two things, what's happening in the United States and what are our requests in the EU. I think that the Commission will be enforcing the Digital Services Act in line with the law. And if somebody wants to make money in Europe, he or she will have to comply with our law. But coming back to Mr. Trump becoming the 47th President of the United States, I have been asked so many times how the EU will position itself or herself. In Czech language, it's her.
Europa, yeah.
Europa. Mm-hmm. And my answer is that we have a very long tradition of strong alliance with the United States. Europe and United States building prosperity, security and democracy for its people. We speak here about 800 million people. And I don't see any reason why not to continue that. Of course, it will require efforts. We already had Mr. Trump once in the White House. And the continuity of this alliance was not interrupted. So we will do ourselves everything to keep this strong alliance. We will also defend our interests of the European Union. We will want to have strong alliance based on reciprocity and mutual advantage. And I think that it makes sense both for Europe but also for United States, because we have common enemies and it is always a unifying factor. I hope I will be right.
Mm-hmm. Time will tell. But also looking at your enduring legacy, with these 10 years, you've been also voted, I think, in 2019, one of the top 100 most influential people in the world. It's no easy task to step back and say, what are you most proud of? But let's ask that question. What is your enduring achievement during this time in the Commission?
It's so tempting to tell you that the red carpet in New York was the peak of my career. Connected with this moment, I only remember how heavy it was to realize that with the influence must come responsibility and really that it is something given to your hands to do something good with it. I think that I could give you a list of things which I did, from GDPR through all the digital agenda which I worked on together with other commissioners, Media Freedom Act. I think I did a lot of things which will maybe cause some headache for the future autocrats of European Union, because I can imagine we might have some in the future. So, for instance, if they will want to squeeze the space for the free media, there will be Media Freedom Act, which should make it very, very difficult for them. So maybe to mention one concrete thing, it's this one.
Mm-hmm. And also, I want to bring it back to your own home region, to Czechia, to Slovakia, also to Poland, CEE region in general. I mean, in some of those areas, there's been progress, like in Poland, the change of the media landscape, once again, rule of law, but looks a bit different in terms of what's going on in Slovakia and in Hungary. What's your, let's say, message or recommendation maybe for those who will follow after you and call for citizens and media in that region?
I think that in every member state, we have a duty. When I say we, I mean the European Commission, to be again concrete. We have a duty to do everything to promote and help the countries with developing democratic system. It's true that democracy and democratic elections can produce autocratic regime. This is what we don't want. But it's fully in the hands of the citizens living in the countries. And Poland is such a nice example of it. You cannot imagine how big pressure on me was over all those years to do more in Poland against the autocratic tendencies. And I think I played always honestly with the cards I had in hands, always referring to the necessity of relying on the free vote of citizens living in Poland. And they cast their vote, and as you said, there was a change. So I don't want to sound like somebody who is giving up, but we need to have a combination of positive influence from the side of the European Union and the reaction of the citizens in each respective country. In Slovakia, of course, we watch the developments with big concern, because this is what we saw in Hungary over time, over 10 years, what Mr. Orbán was doing in Hungary. Mr. Fico seems to do in shorter time. So again, the new commission will have to continue. They will have to use the tools which we developed on these situations and be with the people. Ursula von der Leyen always says that when she's asked to, this is the quote, kick Hungary out of the EU, which is impossible, but her answer is that for her, she has several million of reasons why not to do it. She spoke about Hungarians, about the people living in the country. So I think that we have to combine things, support rule of law in the member states by respecting the rule of law principle also on European level among the EU institutions, but at the same time to really leave the free space for the voters to cast their free vote.
So still a lot of work ahead, not just for a next commissioner, but also, as you said, for the European citizens themselves as well. So
Indeed.
Democracy, rule of law, everything, important things, enduring values. Thank you so much, Jourová, for all your time here today.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
And thank you for watching. That was our interview for TVP World. Věra Jourová, Vice President here at the European Commission, at the heart of Brussels. Sasha Farbach, thank you very much.